B?
Oh, and just so we all know, my prep is the and of one, so I'm not going to do like a full beat order, so we and 1, 2, 3. Make sense? And a commission. Just so we all know.
Okay, good. The beginning, the very first section, what didn't come together, I don't think was your fault, because I think you explained things very clearly, and I think I understood completely what you were saying, and I think you showed it very clearly, and I think maybe some individuals just weren't listening, or paying attention enough, one way or the other. So I think that was fine, what you're doing. The good thing about this part of the exam is that we're dealing with a little bit longer, more complex music, and you're going to get a little more time on it. We're going to make sure that we take the time for everybody to get a chance to do things and give it the best opportunity possible. So do it again, right? Doing it again, what would you change?
I think I could do a little bit better with, I don't want to say I was surprising them with what I was doing, but I think that I can maybe start to do what I want them to do a little earlier, just so they have a better understanding. I felt like I was clear, but I could tell that maybe like people weren't just used to what I'm doing, so maybe if they just start a little earlier with what I'm about to do, then maybe that'll help everyone on the same page.
Okay.
Otherwise, I thought it was a good round.
Okay. Okay, let's see. Let's give you a chance now to do it, make some adjustments and do it again, and then we'll give you some feedback after that. Good, okay. I think, here's my thoughts. The first time you went through, it was neat and organized like a paper, right? But it was just that, it was functional. You know what I'm saying? It was real metronomic. Just, all right, guys, here's how we're putting this together. You started to branch outside of that more this time, simply by looking up, getting out of the score, because the first time was very focused on what am I hearing and how does it align with the score, which is good. You know, we want to work on that as well. That's important. And this time you started to look up and get outside of that and do some expressive things. Because of that, two things happen, right? well, they're kind of this, they involve the same thing. Whenever you came to like resting points, right, and stop and restart, it was actually a lot clearer. However, because you got outside that, you got a little, oh wait, you know, the functionality of it, you know, you kind of lost a little bit of the functionality of it. Wait, oh, I should have been going this way first, and that sort of thing. But it was good. But so it's like one side went up, and when it did, the other one started to go down a little bit, and you started to balance that out a little bit more. I would do it again. And do you know it well enough that you could not look at the score?
I can do my best. I'll have it in front of me, but I think I can a little more comfortable now that I just get out of those.
Yeah. So let's do that then. Let's move out of the score completely if possible, but almost completely. And then as you're doing that, remember, try to retain as much of the functionality. Because remember, we talked about this, goes back to day one. You know, what is a conductor and what is conducting? Well, half of it, you know, is the emotional, you know, preparatory side of it. You know, the study side and all those kinds of things that you want to bring to it. But the other side is the manual technique, okay? And you can't lose the one as you move to the other. So move out of the score, away from the technique side, but try to also remember the technique as much as possible, okay? So one more run, and then after this is your last run, and then we'll get some feedback from the group. Okay, good. I think that was a good balance between the two in a lot of ways. Now, last thing I'll say, and then you guys think about comments that you might have, is whenever it comes to, specifically on resting points, sometimes you go really strongly to it, and I get what you're doing, okay? I think that you need to think about this music, though. You never want to, like it almost like, if I saw you do some of these motions, it's almost like there would be like a slapstick in the back. Bam! You know, spat! You know, and I think it's okay to go strong and say here, but you need to show some kind of absorption to that, either, you know, on the way there or afterwards. You know, so it's not so, there's nothing jagged or angular about this kind of music, and so that kind of adds that element. So I get what you're doing, because you want to, you know, here, and you want us to go to that, but it show a little more, like I said, absorb some of that energy here on the front end or the back end of the movement. And then the last thing I want to say is, when you get to those resting points, when you have long notes, I think what you're doing is very clear, your subdivision, and when you watch the video, I think you'll be pleased. Sometimes I think it's a little too, a little bit too much. Yeah. But other times you'll see that the movement is pretty nice, okay? And so trying to keep a flow in there as you're moving. And then when you get to the resting points, there's a lot of conducting going on that I don't think you need to do, okay? So like the first one, no, the second one. The half note, yeah. After the 3/4 bar, you know, just 1 and 2 and, you know, I mean, 1 and, you'll hear the band go, the group goes, 1 and, somebody cuts off, somebody else cuts off, somebody else cuts off. Because they're like, I'm not really sure. Okay, so just, you want to show sustain through that, and then release. So those are my comments. Anybody else? Yeah.
I thought, like, actually with your facial expression, you're making a lot of progress. Like, I thought you were much softer facial expression. I remember at the beginning of
Yeah, I thought it was really appropriate. Good. Ruben?
You can maybe, now that you have the mechanical stuff down, try to bring out some of the melodic lines. Because I was playing some of the melodies, and there were times where I didn't know if I should keep more quiet or. But I feel like after you have that, at least, just acknowledge some of the melodic lines and like the direction you want us to go in. How the phrasing, I guess, of it, what you'd like to do.
Yeah. And like, I think A is a good example. Okay. So we conduct the melody the whole beginning, because that's all there is.
Yeah.
Melody, and then these interesting chords and suspensions. But then at A, you start to get some kind of counter line, and even conducting the counter line, one or the other, showing linear movement. Now this is all future tense, because Artie's doing a really good job for the first person doing this the first time. And a lot of these comments are just like if you were going to be doing it. Okay, first rehearsal. Now, as we move ahead, here's the next thing, the next thing, and next thing. So, yeah. Anything else? Okay. Nice job.